My name is Marzia, I'm 16, and this is my story. I live in a small town of Canton, Georgia, meaning not a lot goes on around here. It was the week before Christmas, and my parents had to go on a business trip outside of town, leaving me to babysit my baby brother for little money. I accepted, as there weren't many jobs around here that would let me work, and I wanted to save up money to visit one of my best friends that moved away about 5 years ago, that I still keep in contact with. Anyways, one night, after putting my brother to sleep, I decided to go sit down and watch some TV. I started to doze off around, I'd say, maybe 11. I slept for a few hours and woke up at sometime around 2 in the morning. Getting up, I noticed that the TV was shut off, but I didn't remember turning it off. That was the strange part. I shrugged it off, got up, and headed to the kitchen. I pulled out a glass and started filling it with tap water when I heard something fall over and break in my parents' room. I don't have any pets. No one was home, and my brother was asleep. So what just happened in that room? Am I just hearing things? Maybe my parents came home a few days early, and as they were unpacking, they knocked something over. I put my glass of water down and called out, "Mom?" I waited for a response, but I didn't seem to get one. I slowly tiptoed over to the room, with my heart rate slowly starting to increase, while hoping for the best. I slowly walked inside the room, hit the light switch, and there was no one there. I looked towards my parents' dresser and saw the picture frame containing one of our family portraits smashed into tiny shards of glass. Now this was a little strange, seeing how I remembered the TV being on when I fell asleep, and now this picture frame randomly falls over. I didn't want to scare myself. Maybe I just forgot about the TV, and maybe this picture frame somehow lost its grip. I was too tired to think about it right now. I just decided I needed some sleep, and I'd clean up the mess in the morning. I shut off the light, went upstairs, and got into bed. After falling asleep for another 2 hours, I woke up again, this time to what sounded like people walking around downstairs. And unfortunately, I was right. I began to hear the whispers from these people as they ravaged through my house. I was terrified. Never have I ever had to deal with anything like this. I've only heard about these things on the news and in movies, but this was very real. I began putting it together. They must have turned off the TV for some reason when I was asleep, and they were going to begin ravaging through my stuff earlier, but I woke up. I quickly, but quietly, walked over to my door and locked it. I walked over to my nightstand and pulled out my cell phone. After I punched in 911 into my phone, I heard one of them walk upstairs and start heading to my brother's room. Fear ran down my spine. My mind started going crazy. It felt like a bad dream, but one very much real and that I couldn't awaken from. I heard the operator on the other end begin to speak. 911. I quickly brought the phone up to my ear, cutting her off, whispering, "I need police, quick, this is an emergency." I quickly spit out my address and hung up my phone, as I was too afraid that I would make too much noise. After this, I heard my baby brother begin crying. One of these intruders must have found him in his crib. I had to do something. I remembered I had an old baseball bat from under my bed from back when I played baseball in middle school. Quickly picking it up, I slowly and quietly headed to my bedroom door, as my heart pounded in my ear. I creaked the door open just a little bit and tiptoed as slowly and quietly as I possibly could to my brother's room. I could see the intruder gazing down on my brother with stolen belongings from our house hanging out of his bag. I silently lifted up my bat and charged at him, trying to hit him with the bat. He screamed in pain, and then he turned towards me. He ripped the baseball bat out of my hand and threw it on the ground. He grabbed me by the collar of my shirt as his buddy ran upstairs. His buddy gave me this very scary smile that haunts me to this day, and he quietly said,
"We have a fun place for you, little girl."
One of the guys grabbed me by the neck, and the other put a bag around my head. I tried screaming as loud as I could, but they covered my mouth and tied my hands behind my back. I tried to squirm, to kick, to do anything to break free from this, but I knew this would be my demise. In the distance, police sirens approached, and these two men dropped me on the floor next to my brother's crib and bolted down the stairs. Before they exited, the police officers in my front yard yelled, "Freeze!" and they caught them. One of the police officers entered the house, searching to see if any were in the house to find me. On the floor with a bag over my head and my hands tied together, he quickly took the bag off my head and cut my hands free. As tears flooded down my face, he stared me in the eyes and he told me,
"You're gonna be okay."
After I controlled my emotions and settled down, I called my parents and alerted them on what happened. They booked a flight home right away and would be there the next day. Although these two men were caught, I still have nightmares and memories of that man's horrifying smile staring deep into my soul.